All right, welcome back. You're with us here on opening fire. We've got the SGX, which is indicating an absolutely flat start. Still there, 8335. Avinnash Gorakssakar is with us here in our studios. Avinnash, good morning. Good to have you here. So, I mean, yesterday's 30-minute sell-off did show that at least in the near term, whatever happens to Greece, it will matter a little bit, right?
Yeah, it will. Sentimentally, I think, Prashant, it would definitely matter because I think clearly, I think the market was already expecting that some sort of deal would happen. And I think now that the deal is not happening, I think there's obviously going to be some negative surprise. And apart from that, today is expiry. So you will probably see a lot of volatility today. And in fact, yesterday, I think the sell-off was largely because of this global development. I would not be surprised that, till the weekend, if nothing materializes, I think then probably in the coming week also, we could see some sort of further sustained kind of selling pressure.
So, I mean, what do you think happens today? Yesterday was knee-jerk, the market sold off. I mean, from the highs, we're off about 50 points or so. But what happens today?
No, I think my guess is, I think, at least in the near term, I think I'm hopeful that 8300 would be maintained. I think considering that, at least one positive fact is that the monsoons have been much better than expectations. And hopefully in July and August, if this momentum continues, I think all fears about inflation going up do not come up. And the markets are also looking at a rate cut, I think, which probably looks a little premature at this stage. But clearly, if we have good rains in July, I think there are expectations that possibly, the rate cut which everybody is expecting, probably some sort of thinking could happen from the governor's side. So I would say that clearly the Greece event is going to have a knee-jerk kind of impact in the immediate short term. But I think beyond a point, I think Greece is not going to matter that much. I think clearly everyone agrees that even if Greece goes out of the euro, it could possibly mean a sentimental effect. But in terms of actual kind of sentiment forward, I would say that it would be a good opportunity to actually accumulate good quality kind of stocks. These kind of market movements in the last 8 to 9 days have been so fast. I think the markets have given a 5% rise, Prashant. I don't think quite seriously most of the investors have actually participated in this rally.
No, so are you saying, well, because before 3 p.m., before this Greece news broke, I mean, there was, people weren't expecting big upsides or anything, but generally there was a bit more wind in their sails. I mean, I'm talking about bulls, and the fact that they were saying, well, the market worst is behind and maybe a little bit more to go. 8 days the market has gone up, so flat market, okay. But then that news on Greece came and the market just sold off like that. I'm saying, does anything change because of that or not really? View still is what it was before that.
No, I think on ground, I think, Prashant, nothing has changed. Because if
forget about the ground. Forget about the ground.
I think sentimentally, I think today if you see some news flow saying that a deal is going to happen, I think you'll again see the index bouncing back, So I know this kind of news flow is really difficult to predict. But my sense is, I think till the weekend, I think if nothing comes out, then I think it's going to add to the uncertainty.
Yeah, and as is typical and as we've seen over the last many years, I mean, it does actually go down to the wire, right? I mean,
no, it goes. I mean, 30th June is the deadline, and I think, there are some news reports that probably some further new deal is going to be reconsidered. But I think unless and until something concrete happens, and I think I'm saying the weekend because probably, the markets would obviously start discounting. If nothing is going to happen, then probably the coming week would also open on a weak note because this global development is going to obviously impact Europe. Yeah. And to that extent, I think all Asian markets, even today, I think Asian markets have not been opened, positively. So I think probably you'll get that uncertainty effect for a few days unless we hear something finally, what is finally going to emerge out of Greece.
Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, what I was saying was down to the wire is that 30th is the deadline. You'll have to wait till 11:55, 11:57 on the 30th to know what exactly does come out. And then, if you're trading, it's going to be pretty tough then, right? I mean, today, tomorrow.
No, it would be. Normally on a FNO expiry day, it is difficult. But I think added to this, if this global...
Something will keep coming.
Yeah, obviously. So, I mean, clearly I think that's what I said. If the market holds on to 8300, we are in safe territory. Otherwise, I think, the 9-day rally which we have seen was clearly on the basis of hopes that globally the Greece deal is going to be, complete. I mean, most of the uncertainties like the monsoon clearly, also has given a big positive surprise. So, I think markets were happy that earlier all these were negative news flows which turned positive. So I think clearly, now as we run up in the month of July, I think clearly events like the monsoon session, the quarterly numbers for the first quarter, I think that would be under watch.
You know, this is what Raghuram Rajan said yesterday, and I want to put out some graphics. He said that since we're on the subject of Greece, might as well sort of loop this in as well. There are for sure repercussions for India from Greece. India would survive any volatility caused by Greece. I mean, so in the same breath, he says that as well. Some repercussions, but would survive any volatility. Forex interventions globally would have deep consequences. This is something that he's said over and over again for the last year and a half or so. And as far as India specific commentary goes, he said monsoon so far has been quite strong and India needs to grow still faster. So that's broadly generic commentary, but I think there was the Greece bit was what was kind of timely, since that's been so much in news, although nothing earth-shattering there as well in terms of commentary. 1 and 30 odd seconds to go for the market open, the pre-open session today, this morning. Avinnash, any thoughts on two names? One is Voltas, was down about 5.5% yesterday. You heard anything?
No, I think clearly possibly could be some profit booking, because I think the kind of numbers they posted in the quarter 4 were quite encouraging. In fact, the management commentary post the Q4 numbers has also been very strong. So I would not be concerned very much, considering the fact that the stock has run up also pretty fast. So I would say that probably some sort of profit booking. I don't think there could be some negative news flow from the company or from the sector. I think still it's a long way before we could see the impact of positive fall of interest rates on the company. But still, I think looking at the Q4 number and the order book inflow and the order book position, I would say that these kind of declines clearly don't say that there's some fundamental change in the company's prospects going forward for FY16.
The other one is persistent systems, Avinnash.
I think just like positive surprises, the management made it clear that the Q1 top line could possibly not grow. And I think yesterday 13% fall, Prashant, has more or less, factored in the kind of negative Q1 numbers. Now, if the numbers don't come that bad, I think possibly you could see a bounce. I think this company is not bad. They are in a product business. Clearly, one quarter going bad is not the end of the story. Probably at some further lower level, there could be some good consolidation. So I think persistent, possibly the kind of fall we saw yesterday probably could not be seen, again today. I mean, after a 13% fall, probably my sense is the stock could consolidate and just remain in a small range.
Persistent is also, by the way, down about 30% from the start of the year. So, as Avinnash said, not a bad company, not a bad story in that sense, but if you've got to believe in the slightly longer term.